Welcome to Entry Point Faith. Join us each week to discover fresh meaning in the world and find faith your way. Now, here is Pastor Nancy Lafferty.
I was fortunate to be born into an artistic musical family where everyone played at least one musical instrument. My mother played the saxophone and the piano. My father learned to play the trombone along with my brother, and I couldn't wait to take lessons on the trumpet and then later on French horn. So my brother and I drummed our way through almost every meal with forks and plates and glasses and our voices. And the good thing was our parents didn't shush us. They never said, "Don't sing" at the dinner table. They never said, "Stop making all that racket." So it's no surprise that my brother is a professional musician and a church music director. And as I was choosing a major in college, I was torn between music and theater. So it is understandable that musical theater became the perfect blend for me. I don't know what the other kids did on Friday nights, but until my brother and I got into high school, we had a jam session with our parents. My mom would sit down at the piano, take out the worn-out hymnal, and we would all groove along to the Old Rugged Cross and other great classics. I am an artist, director, and creative individual, not only because of the home environment I was born into, but also the school environment that I was educated in. I grew up in Akron, Ohio, and attended the Akron public school system. And at the time, it is remarkable to me when I think about this. Akron had infused arts education into that public school system in a remarkable way. Every elementary student went to Cleveland and saw the Cleveland Orchestra. We saw theater. We saw the Cleveland Opera. Our elementary schools and high schools throughout the district had phenomenal orchestras and bands and choirs and incredible, vibrant music situations in each school. As I grew older, I was stunned to learn that not every kid grew up like that, with that kind of music in their lives. I am eternally grateful for the role that music played in my early life and in my life every single day. But whether or not we play an instrument or we can sing very well, we have all been surrounded by music all of our lives. Many of our mothers sang lullabies to us, good or bad voices, to calm us down. Our parents may have sat on the floor and played records or listened to the radio all day long in our homes. And we were always aware of the playing of music for special occasions. One of the best descriptions of how music impacts our lives is to view music as time travel. Can we travel through time? Yes. David Epps tells us. Music has the ability to take one back to a point in time and for a few moments allow one to experience memories, feelings, and emotions. Music has the power of transportation. When that old song plays in the car, we sing along loudly. We're performing a concert, aren't we? And we know every single word because that song was popular back then when we were in high school maybe. And we're instantly back in that moment, in that school gym, at the football game, at the dance, at that party. We can't remember what we had for lunch, but we know every word and every note of that song. The link between music and memory serves us well as we age. Even when someone has fallen silent due to dementia, music remains recognizable. When my mother was not able to speak well near the end of her life due to Alzheimer's, we sang together. It was amazing. She often didn't know exactly who I was. I think she thought I worked there. But that's okay because I knew who she was. But there were a few songs we had always sung together when I was a child, and so sometimes in the silence of our visit, I would simply start singing one of those songs, and unbelievably, recognition would come to her eyes, and she would join in singing. My mother's sister, Aunt Dorothy, one of my favorite aunts, was also an incredible musician. She could play the piano and the organ, and her claim to fame was her ability to sit between an organ and a piano at her favorite bar, along with her husband, who was the drummer. And she would put one hand on one instrument and the other hand on the other and sit between those two and one-handedly play the piano and the organ. So when I last visited her in assisted living and we sang one of her favorite songs, she struggled a little bit with the words, but she closed her eyes, she lifted up her hands, and there was one hand on an organ and one hand on the piano as we sang with her perfect fingering. She was transported in that moment. Now, I don't know with any authority why some people have musical ability and others shouldn't sing. I suspect that it is our upbringing and our exposure to music that has a lot to do with it, but I also choose to believe that musical aptitude and abilities are gifted to us from God. One of these days I'm going to talk about spiritual gifts, but today I believe that the gift of making music is a spiritual gift. Composers, singers, instrumentalists are able to guide our emotions and our spirits. That's something that comes from outside of us. That's much bigger than we are. We read in the Bible, God gives us many kinds of special abilities, but it is the same Spirit who is the source of them all. Music is the universal language of expression and emotion, and for many of us, it does connect us to God. Now, we may not know the language or the structure of music, nor have the ability to perform it, but we all have our jams. We know how to relax to music after a difficult day. We don't know how to write music, but we know when a phrase or some lyrics reflect exactly how we feel. And that moment, the world lines up perfectly. There's an undeniable impact that we receive from music. It aligns our soul. I can't imagine a world without composers or singers or bands or musicians or dancers or songs. Films without music would be boring. Even TV advertisements would be even more lame without music. Music brings people together. It's a powerful, powerful art form with human interaction at its core. Something wonderful and thrilling happens when people make music together. You can witness it every single Sunday right here. I love watching this group. You can see in rehearsal and also in the service itself, these musicians can just look at each other and communicate. The singers encourage each other with smiles and facial expressions. When people perform together, they learn a lot about each other and they grow more compassionate toward each other, focusing on what they can build together and not on the weaknesses. Music is a creative outlet. It improves our health and our well-being. Listening to music calms us. It lowers our blood pressure. It improves our mood. Music energizes us and gets us moving sometimes. One of my favorite speech assignments I used to give in my public speaking classes was to have the students select a song that they thought was the best song to serve as the soundtrack of their life at that moment. They were encouraged to play a little bit of the song and then tell us why that song reflects where they were in their lives. They loved that assignment too. What about you? What song is your favorite or seems to describe your life? Maybe now or at an earlier stage in your life. Many couples have a song, their song, a song that means something to them. I said to Marcy the other day, do we have a song? She said, no, all of the songs are our songs. We like all of them. Do you have a song that is special to you, that has a special significance? Music is vital to my life. I absolutely love it. I absolutely need it every single day. And I have to agree with Plato's words. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. Amen.
Thanks for listening in on this week's discussion on Entry Point Faith. You can join the Entry Point Faith community in person every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. at Conner Prairie in Fishers, Indiana. For more information and a transcript of Nancy's messages, visit entrypointonline.org. Entry Point Faith is brought to you in partnership with mypodcast.media.